There is no doubt that there are a subset of PhD students and PhD graduates that say a PhD is a scam, I tells ya. But is a PhD a scam? So I actually looked at the definition of a scam, and I think the one that is closest related to how a PhD student could feel is this one: a dishonest or illegal plan or activity, especially one for making money that involves tricking people. Now, looking at that, I think there are some grey areas of a PhD that could overlap with what could technically be called a scam. And I feel like even though it's a very sort of emotive topic, some people very much feel like they were scammed, where on the other side of the coin, there are many, many people that a PhD benefits in a wide variety of ways. And we're going to look at each component of that definition. Is it dishonest? Is it a trick? Is someone making money from it? And can it serve you well? And in this video, I'm going to share with you the tips and tricks for making sure it's not a scam for you. Remember to stay to the end because there are some gems in this video. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. When you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks. Everything from the tools I use, how to write the perfect abstract, the TEDx talk I gave, and more. It's exclusive content only available for free on that newsletter. Go sign up now. Is there any way that a PhD student can feel like they have been lied to? That there's a little bit of dishonesty in the academic system in terms of the amount of time it will take, the expectations for what will happen after a PhD. Now, I am in no doubt that a lot of this dishonest feeling, a lot of the feelings that people have is not as calculated as maybe it feels, but rather that a PhD system doesn't really let you know what you're in for. When you sign up to do a PhD, at least when I signed up, no one said, it will be this, it will be that, you'll be expected to be here, and at the end of it, this is what will happen, mainly because a PhD is so fluid, it is so different from anything that you've done before that I think the expectations you have very often don't match up with the reality of what will happen. And there are sometimes no ways that you can really say this is what's going to happen because that's the nature of research. You can be spending hours in the lab at your desk and find nothing. You could spend 1 minute looking online and have a flash of inspiration, and that's just the nature of a PhD. I feel like though there are some things that are left unsaid to PhD students that can make it feel dishonest, like the realities, the data for what happens on the other side of a PhD. How many people actually get a tenured position in an academic institution so they can lecture, become a professor, get on the tenure track, get a permanent position. Like all of that really is left unsaid and unexplored when the excitement of doing a PhD takes hold of a master's or undergraduate student. And so I feel like there is a small sort of like drop of truth as to a PhD becoming dishonest when you feel like you have all these expectations of what it's going to be. No one tells you the truth, and therefore you get to a point in it and you go, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be this, or I didn't realize it was going to be this hard, or I didn't realize it was going to be this risky. I didn't realize that it would take this much time. I'd use all these relationships that financially it would put me under stress. Like that is a little bit of the risk that you take on, and it's not explicitly told to you at the beginning of a PhD. So yes, it can be a little bit dishonest, but not deceptive. I think no one's out there to specifically sort of hide the truth from you. It's just that a lot gets unsaid and a lot gets unexplored when you first start a PhD. So it can feel dishonest when things aren't going well. Is anyone tricking you into doing a PhD? Now, this is kind of a tricky one, because unfortunately, the university marketing department is kind of there, and any marketing department is there to kind of trick you and coerce you to do further study, to go to their university. And once you're on that slippery slope, once you've been convinced that you're going to get a degree from this particular institution, there's a slippery downward slope, an easy, nice slide, lubricated hill down to a PhD. Now, the thing is that it's not necessarily like a trick. No one's like doing magic, sleight of hand. It's just that once you're there, you feel kind of in this nice little bubble, and stepping outside of that bubble can feel very awkward. So you do just kind of go undergraduate, master's, PhD. Oh no, what am I doing? Postdocs, is this going to last forever? What do I do? Like, that is essentially the path of a lot of PhD students. Whether or not you're tricked into it, I'm not sure. There's no doubt that the university marketing team puts forward their best efforts in getting you to sign up to their institution. Is anyone coming to you to say, well, you'll definitely get a job and, you know, like, we have all these things? Not always. But staying in academia, there are some supervisors that will use tricks to keep you in their research department. Now, the thing is that a supervisor, an academic professor that has researchers under them, relies on having a big body of people under them to feed the research up until this pyramid structure that's definitely not a pyramid scheme. And so they sit at the top of this with all the researchers and all of the papers sort of flowing up, and their career gets much sort of like fuller and bigger and better because of the efforts of the people underneath them. Now, there is a trick component to that. No doubt that if a supervisor needs all these people underneath, then of course they're going to sell their research, they're going to sell the ability for you to progress in their research team and find out all these amazing things and the potential opportunities. So sometimes there's a grey zone where sure, they want to get you excited about joining their research team, and maybe it could cross over into being tricked. Love bombing is something I talked about on a previous video, where a supervisor will tell you how amazing you are, how you're going to go fit in really well with their research group. They'll spend a lot of time with you early on, love bomb you, because you're going to be like, oh, this is what it's going to be like to work for this person. And unfortunately, that very rarely turns out, unless you're the pet project, which I've talked about also before in my other videos, where unfortunately, then they kind of move on to the next person to love bomb, and they need to keep this kind of solid foundation of researchers chugging away. So yes, there are components in the academic system where you can feel tricked into joining either early on through the marketing department, or later on when the supervisor says to you, come into my lab, I love you, you love my work, you're the best, you're so clever, you're fitting so well. And then they've tricked you into joining their lab so that their career can get better. Bit tricksy, I guess. Is anyone making money from your PhD? Does the making money in the scam definition really apply to doing a PhD? Now, there's no doubt that PhD students are paid atrociously for the amount of skills they actually bring early on. Now, there's no doubt you learn a ton more throughout a PhD, throughout research in general. But if you were to take your undergraduate market value out into the world, you would be paid significantly more than doing a PhD. So universities run on very, very cheap research labor from undergraduates and postgraduate PhD students, and then postdocs and all of that sort of stuff. But there's no doubt there's someone making a financial benefit from you choosing to do a PhD. Now, it may be that your research supervisor, the person that sort of like helps direct your research, is using part of your research study to earn money through grant applications. Now, that's just part of the academic system, and they need money to survive. So that one kind of makes sense to me. But the university system in general, like I said, relies on a huge body of PhD students who are paid very little to do research so they can earn money in the outside world through patents, licensing, through new discoveries that they can sell to the world. And also, in terms of using the findings to make the prestige of their university look greater so they can apply for more grants and get larger sums of money from grant bodies. So, yeah, is someone making money from you? Probably. Like, someone's making a benefit from you doing a PhD. Are they tricking you into it? Sometimes it could be a trick. It's starting to sound like a scam, isn't it? Some people doing a PhD are self-funded. Now, this is where there is clearly a financial benefit for taking on a student. They will pay not only the university to be part of a PhD system, but also they will fund all of their studies. So, is someone making money? Well, yes, there's a financial benefit. Is this a scam? Scams to me seem pretty one-sided, as in someone loses out. There is a winner and there is a loser. But in the PhD system, not everyone loses who are scammed into doing a PhD. So it makes it even harder to be like, well, yes, it is a scam or isn't a scam. Because clearly the PhD system helps some people become professors. It helps some people earn more money. It helps some people build their skills and enjoy the research and get closer to being, the sort of person they want to be. There's no doubt. But are there a huge number of people that the PhD system doesn't work for, that are swept into the system and they feel like they've been lied to, that they've been tricked into doing it? And I would argue that yes, now particularly, when universities are no longer employing many people, they're firing people, in fact. University systems are shrinking, at least in the universities that I was employed at. There's less grant money going around that people are fighting for. That does make it seem like it doesn't work for the majority of PhD students. So at some point, you do have to realize that there needs to be a systemic change to make sure that all of these people have the right ability at the end of a PhD to get jobs, to go into academic fields outside of the ivory towers. So, it does work for some people, but arguably for most, the PhD system doesn't work, and that is not explained to them early on. Also, going to a better institution, no doubt in my mind, provides a leg up in the academic world. Go check out my other video where I talk about whether or not going to a better university helps with a PhD and your job afterwards. There's no doubt that it does. Connections that you make, the prestige that's placed on that university by other universities. But overall, it is kind of starting to sound like there's this grey zone where, yeah, a PhD works for some, but for most, they can feel like they're scammed. And I can't really blame them, I don't think, based on what I've talked about in this video, because, yeah, can be a little bit dishonest in the way that it's sort of like displayed. It can be a little bit tricky, because there are people that have a vested interest in getting you into the university system and then their research group. People are making financial benefits from you doing a PhD at the university level and the supervisor level. So unless you really, really know what you're going into and a PhD matches exactly what you want from life and your career, it is a bad default path to take, because you can feel like you've been scammed at the end of it. So there we have it. Are PhDs a scam? Well, I think this definition shows us that there are a number of people that can actually feel like their PhD is a scam because of the way that they get sucked into it, the sort of financial benefit the universities tends to make, and their expectations aren't met. And that's not necessarily because the university is hiding anything, but because they're not addressing the realities of doing a PhD sort of when people first join. So there's no doubt that, yeah, when you type, is a PhD a scam on the internet, on Google, on another search engine, that people are going to have varying sort of opinions to that question, because really it's about, do I feel scammed? Do I feel scammed after doing a PhD? Well, no, but at a certain point, I kind of felt like I wasn't prepared enough for leaving academia, that I had to take a jump into the unknown, and that my people around me, the colleagues that I'd met, didn't have the confidence to leave academia, and they were all saying, oh, I don't know what else I would do. Like, that is a bad system. One that traps you financially into their system can't be one that's beneficial for everyone. So yes, let me know in the comments what you think. Has a PhD been a scam for you? Also, go check out Academia Insider, where I try to share all the information about not making a PhD scammy. I've got my ebook, The Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, where I share the insider details about what a PhD and an academic career is really like and how you write your way to success. And also my insider forum, go join that. All right. And also this channel is all about making sure that a PhD doesn't get a chance to scam you, and that you really understand what you're getting yourself in for. So go check out some of my playlists, because I'm in no doubt they'll be helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video.